go ahead. Okay, just tell us where you're from. Thanks, guys. Just write hi. Tell us where you're from. In the chat. Can you see me? You can see me. Yeah. Can you see me? Cool. Okay, good. Guys, I'm just gonna get my PowerPoint ready. I'm doing, so I do have some food, but I'm gonna not eat it during the actual podcast. Can you hear me now? Is that better, Halal? Is that better, Halal? Can you hear me? Is this okay, guys? Can you hear me well? If you can't hear me well, just tell me. Let me know. Okay, you can hear me better now. I'll hold up my thing like this so that you guys can hear me good. I'm eating a curry. It's like a Thai curry with vegetables and pork chop. But here it is. I'm not gonna try to eat it during the event. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I haven't eaten since breakfast this morning. I've been very, very, very busy all day, so I'm just a bit hungry. If you guys can't hear me that well, try turning off your video or try minimizing the amount of things that you're in. Sometimes there's a lot of bandwidth running on your computer, and that slows down the connection. So I'm making sure that I've exited all of my applications now so that all my memory and power is running for the event. Guys, make sure you check your audio. Most of you should be able to hear me. You should be able to see me. If you can't, just double check your audio. Make sure your audio is turned on. Vlad is here as well. Vlad is going to help us by managing the chat box today. Okay, Vlad is going to help us by managing the chat box today. So we're going to start here in a couple minutes, probably at 2:05 Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry about the issues earlier. It's daylight savings time in North America, I found out about 30 minutes ago. And I'm in Norway right now, guys, in Oslo, Norway. And I thought we were 6 hours ahead. But what happens is Europe does daylight savings time next week, and the United States has it today. And so we were an hour late, unfortunately. So sorry about that, but it looks like the video is working. It looks like you guys can hear me well. So I'm super excited to share with you some thoughts today about 26 plus on TOEFL speaking and 24 plus on TOEFL writing. And guys, we're going to keep the chat box turned off while I'm teaching so that you can focus. Okay, you can focus on the lesson and you can focus on the material. We found the chat box can be very distracting for people. So we will turn it on for questions. We're going to have a question and answer session at the end. Okay, and but until that point, we will keep it private so that we can keep moving. If you guys do have questions, you can write them to Vlad. Okay, all of you can message Vlad and he'll take your questions and then we'll stop about halfway through to answer them. Today's class is going to go for about 1.5 hours. Okay, so we'll end just before 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to talk about how to get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking, 24 plus on TOEFL writing, and a number of other things related to taking the TOEFL. So guys, I just want to wait one more minute. I'm going to take one last bite of food, last bite of food all day, and then we're going to go ahead. We're going to start. I turned the sound off so you guys can hear me chewing. We're going to start now. Okay, it's 7:05, and I would like to get going. Okay, like to get going. I'd like to start teaching. Make sure you have your pencil ready, okay? Make sure you have a notebook ready. Make sure you are focused, okay? Put a phone, put away your eye, all the things that are distracting. What I'm going is going to be very important, and you do very well on the TOEFL test, okay? Especially on the writing and the speaking section, which for about 80% of students is the most difficult part of the TOEFL test. So I think most of you can hear me. If you can't hear me, check your volume settings. Make sure your volume is turned on. You might have to restart your computer. Vlad, do you have a link to YouTube Live as well or something like that? Or do we only have this? Because maybe that might also work for people. So yeah, buckle in, as we say. That's an idiom in English. Buckle in, get ready. We're going to go ahead and start right now. So I'm just going to set up the slideshow so that you guys can see it. Give me one sec. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start, guys. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint, and then you'll be able to see me. So here we go, screen share. I'm going to start this PowerPoint, guys. On TOEFL writing presentation lesson class. Guys, my name is Paul Austin. I've interacted with some of you over email. Some of you have been in my old classes. Some of you are considering taking classes. So it's really nice to meet all of you. And again, we apologize for last week. We apologize for today as well. We've been having a lot of issues. Things are in the clear now. It's going to be a really good class, and we're going to talk about how 26 plus on TOEFL speaking and how to get 24 plus on TOEFL writing. And I lead an online language school. It's called TOEFL Speaking Teacher. We focus a lot on helping students get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking. We help people who are pharmacists, doctors, physical therapists, nurses, teachers, people who want their MBA, people who are getting their master's degrees. We help these people get high scores. And, you know, part of what we do is we help people with premium resources. Okay. We help people with premium resources. And at the end of today's class, I'm going to give you loans if you want to use those resources, if you want to take private lessons or group lessons, or if you want to just take a self-study course. Our focus is on helping as many students as possible who need to get this score for professional reasons, whether that's for school or whether that's for a real job. We want to help you. And we can only do that well if we charge money for resources, of course, because I have to eat. I have to live in a house somewhere. I have to, pay for my health care. I have to do these things. So, by charging some money, we're able to live our lives and give you guys the best information possible. And that doesn't mean that you have to buy anything by any means. I'd love you guys to stay till the end, and love you to stay till the end to see all our information. But if you have thought about it in the past, you're considering it, we're going to give you a discount if you stay in the class today and stay till the end. So the first question I want to ask, guys, is I want to ask why you're taking the TOEFL test. Okay, so we're going to queue up a poll. Vlad, can you do that, please? Can you queue up a poll so that we have that? And go ahead and see what that poll is like. Is it for employment? So is it because you want to become a pharmacist? Is it for your MBA or your LLM? Is it for a PhD or master's program, or is it for undergraduate? So guys, just go ahead and write that for us so that we have a pretty good idea of the reason that you're here, the reason that you're taking the TOEFL test. There are about 125 of you. That's pretty good for all the issues that we had last week and today. So there are about 125 of you here, and we have about 35% of you, so about 45 people who are taking it for employment. That might be a pharmacist, physical therapist, again, nurse, teacher, doctor, dentist, engineer, whatever it might be. Maybe you need a visa. Maybe you just need to pass and get 26 on TOEFL speaking, 24 on TOEFL writing for other reasons. 6% of you for your MBA, good. About 43% of you for your PhD or master's, okay? Higher education, you need to prove that you can speak English well. And about 10% of you for undergraduate. And the reason I ask that, okay, the reason I want to know why here is so that I can adjust how I talk to you about the TOEFL test. Everyone who's taking it is largely taking it for a different reason. There are lots of reasons. And the reason you're taking it will determine what you do to get a high score. There are probably, students in here who live in Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Syria, other countries where the income is quite low. And so, I need to know that in terms of why you guys are here. There are other places like in the United States, immigrants who need it to get, and again, that's going to dictate how they prepare. And so what I want to give you is for your situation, for your context, I want to give you the best avenue possible that's within your budget and that can help you achieve your score with a high degree of certainty. Because here's the thing. A lot of students, they waste a lot of money taking the TOEFL test. The TOEFL is $190 each time we take the test. Okay? That's expensive. And if you keep paying that fee, you're going to waste a lot of money if you don't know how to get the score you want. Okay? There are some students I've spoken to who have taken the TOEFL test, I'm not joking, 20 times. Okay? 20 times. In fact, let's do a quick poll right now, guys. How many times, we're gonna go ahead, and Vlad, I'll handle this one, don't worry about it. How many times have you taken the TOEFL? Okay, and just I want to get a sense again for who's here, what your situation is, how I can help you. So how many times, go ahead and write in there, how many times have you taken the TOEFL test? We'll wait about 30 more seconds as these people come in. And so about 40% have never taken it before. That's good. That's a good position to be in. About 50% have taken it 1 to 3 times. That's also good. About 4 to 6 of you have taken it. About 12 of you have taken it 4 to 6 times. And about 12 of you have taken it 7 times. Now, this is good in some ways. I've had webinars in the past, free classes, where I've had students who don't take the test, or I have a class, I think I had 10 classes in the last, or I had 10 students in the last class who had taken the TOEFL test more than 10 times, guys. More than 10 times. That means they spent more than $2,000 test fees. No one is like that, here, which is good. That's a really good situation. But understand that can happen. We have, all of you who have taken the test 7 to 9 times. That means spent at least $1,500 probably on taking the TOEFL test. $1,500. And that's just so that those of you who have not taken the test yet, those of you who have only taken 3 times, you don't want to spend $1,500. And that doesn't mean that these people are bad, that have, I'm glad that you guys are here because you're here to learn. You're here to get better. You're here to commit to improving. And that's what's important. And so I just want to use that as a caution because a lot of people, they say, oh, I it's on my own. I can prepare on my own. I don't need any. It's not. Oftentimes, if you prepare on your own, you're spending more money than if you had prepared with a professional instructor like our team or any other one as well. So invest. Always see your education as an investment. It's an investment, and by investing in it, you're going to create more opportunities for yourself. So I want to get back to the PowerPoint and slide because I want to start to go into why you're taking the TOEFL. Okay, so why you're taking the TOEFL. We talked about that already, and basically what I want to do now is I want to focus on 2 things. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that we have time for questions and some discussion for those who need help with certain things. I think we all agree that your number one reason that why you are here is to earn a high score on TOEFL speaking. For many of you, that's 26 plus because you need, you're a pharmacist, doctor, physical therapist, teacher, you need 26 plus. Others of you who are getting your master's or PhD, you also need that. And many of you are here obviously because, or also high score on TOEFL writing. For some of you, that's 24. For some of you, that's just improving your score. And we're going to talk about how to do both of those things. Okay, how to earn a high score in TOEFL speaking and TOEFL writing. So as I already mentioned, taking the TOEFL, every time you take it, you spend $190. Okay, every time you take it, you spend $190. And at least in the United States, I think this price is different depending on the country, but at least in the United States, you spend about $190. And as you saw, there are some people who have taken the test more than 10 times. There are some people who have taken the test 7 to 9 times. So they've spent a significant sum. In fact, I'd like to do one more poll, guys. I really like these polls. I think they're engaging. I'd like to, first, actually, I want to know how much money you have spent on preparing for the TOEFL. And if you don't want to say anything, but I just want to get a sense for how much people have already invested in the TOEFL. This is obviously anonymous. No one's going to see your response. But again, it helps me to tailor and customize my speech to making sure that you get the best information possible. And again, every time you take the TOEFL, it's $190. So make sure you remember that. Think about the preparation. Maybe you've taken other lessons or classes. Maybe you've bought other courses. So think about that as well. And I want to get a sense for that poll. So 30% of you haven't spent anything. That's probably because many of you have never taken the test. So remember, 60% of us had, we had never taken the test before. So that about half of that 60% hasn't spent anything. Another half of that 60%, about 30% of you have spent less than $200, which means you've done some preparation, maybe lessons, some group lessons, or between $200 and $1,000. Maybe you've bought a course, things like that. However, you're here because you still need more help. It wasn't as effective as you wanted. You need additional help. And then we see below there are 10% of you, so about 15 of you who have already spent $1,000 to $2,000. And there are 3% of you, so about 9 people. No, not 9 people. I'm sorry. 5 people, 4 to 5 people who already spent more than $2,000. I want, this is polls from our class right now. And I'm saying this so that you guys understand what happens if you don't invest right away in quality resources that are proven to work with trained professionals, teachers who, we've helped at this point about 100 students get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking, if not more. We've helped a number of students get 24 plus on TOEFL writing. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. And guys, again, I know this isn't exact. You need to do this and this and this, but this is important to understand because you want to get done with TOEFL as soon as possible in a way that's going to save you money, save you time, save stress, save you hassle, right? And so that's why this needs to be super, super clear for everyone here. So if we spend, about $190 each time we take the TOEFL, we have that amount. And we have to ask the question, why haven't you earned 26 on TOEFL speaking? Why haven't you earned 24 plus on TOEFL reading? And, TOEFL writing. My bad, guys. Sorry about that. So earn those scores. And obviously some of you've never taken the test before. I think that's part of the reason. Some of you haven't studied that much. Or, as it says right here, you haven't studied the right material. Guys, I love Noteful. I love what they've made some great YouTube videos. They explain things very well. But I will be honest, a lot of the students that we work with previously had tried Noteful's techniques for TOEFL speaking, and they did not work. Because what Noteful teaches, I think, I'm pretty sure this is still the case, is speaking like a robot, memorizing templates, speaking very robotic, and that doesn't work to get 26 in most cases. Some students get lucky, but in most cases, it does not work to get 26. You need to study the right material. You need to make sure that material has been tested, has been proved by other students to work, and you need to make sure that you commit to that and study that and believe in it. I see number of students who always kind of move from one study resource to the next. They try, Magoo for 2 months, or they try me for 2 months, and then, they hop to the next one. If you're going to study, be consistent. If you're going to study, commit. And commit to resources, again, that are proven to work on a consistent basis. Success stories once a week, once or twice a week, from students who have used our resources to get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking. They work, but you need to commit, because that's the second thing. A lot of students don't want to do the hard work. A lot of students, they want someone else to give them the secret. They want someone else to tell them everything they need to do so that they can, kind of be lazy and not have to do the hard work. They want someone else to about things. And guys, I'm here to tell you, 26 plus on TOEFL speaking is not easy. I'm going to repeat that. 26 plus on TOEFL speaking is not easy. Neither is 24 plus on TOEFL writing. Guess what? It requires hard work. It requires hard work. It requires you to do things that are uncomfortable for you. It requires you to study consistently, an hour a day, hour and a half a day, studying the correct resources, right? Studying the correct resources and challenging yourself. This is something I talk about in my group classes, the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. My mindset says there's no reason to improve. I am the way I am. I'm going to speak English the way I speak English. Let's just try to get lucky and get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking. The students who approach TOEFL speaking with a fixed mindset, that lucky mindset, oh, I know I'll just get it next time. Oh, I know I'll just get it next time. Those are the ones who take the TOEFL 8 times, 10 times, 15 times. They don't do hard work. You need to improve. You should not take the TOEFL more than 3 times. If you haven't taken the TOEFL yet, or you've only taken it like 2 times, you should not take it more than 3 times. You should get help on it. You should fix your mistakes. You should get guidance from someone. It can be me. It can be someone else who has helped other students get 26 on TOEFL speaking. And you should commit to it and be patient in your approach, because it's not easy. Now, Hiren is a pharmacist from India. He's from Gujarat. And, Hiren, he lives in Texas now. Okay, Hiren lives in Texas. He's a pharmacist. He's from India, from Gujarat. He, before he contacted me, the TOEFL speaking teacher team, he had sat for TOEFL 7 times. And he spent $1,300 on test fees by taking it 7 times, $1,300. He kept earning 23 or 24 on TOEFL speaking. It wasn't working. He was trying to get lucky. Nothing happened. So he registered for private lessons with TOEFL speaking teacher. Hiren studied for 3 months, took the private lessons, then sat for the TOEFL again. The first time he sat for the TOEFL, he earned 27 on TOEFL speaking and never had to take the TOEFL again. So this is important to know, because this is a real life person, and we've helped about 100 people as well do the same thing. Save money, save time, save stress, save effort by getting them and working with them to achieve and earn the score they need. We provide the resources, and we inspire and motivate students to work hard and commit to getting better. I want to ask one more question, okay? I want you to think. I'm going to do a poll about this. I'm not going to what I want to do is I want to say this straight up to you. I want you to think about how much money you lose every month if you earn how much money do you lose every month when you don't earn 20 on TOEFL speaking? Okay, you don't need to answer, but I will provide some understanding for you. Pharmacists. I'm sure pharmacists here, they know the salary for a full-time pharmacist. They know it's about maybe $100,000 to $120,000 They also know the salary of a pharmacy assistant. It's maybe $30,000 or so, $40,000. On average, a pharmacist makes $80,000 more per year than a pharmacy assistant. So that means every week, not even every month, every week, a pharmacist doesn't earn their goal score. They lose almost $2,000, about $1,800 every month, about $6,400 because of that salary difference. If they got done with TOEFL, they finished it, they could start their internship and start working much sooner. Same with physical therapists. There's a salary difference between an assistant and a real physical therapist. Okay? There's a difference between someone who's working as a teacher assistant and a full teacher. There's a difference between someone who's working as like an assistant nurse or like a tech person in a hospital and a registered nurse. Keep that in mind. When you pass TOEFL, when you get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking, when you get 24 plus on TOEFL TOEFL writing, geez, I'm so sorry, guys. How much extra money? Don't tell me. You don't need to write it down, but think about that. This is the lecture, Arush. This is part of the lecture because this is really important for students to understand. Okay? Think about that. Write that number down, and when we come back to the end of class, we'll talk about why that matters. Okay? We'll talk about why that matters and in what context it's important. So what I want to do now is I want to go back, and now that you guys have an understanding, tech versus a pharmacist. Write that number down, guys. Keep that in mind. And what I say in this is, if you're upset or angry, that's okay. The truth often hurts, and that is why so many ignore it. The truth is important to face. It's important to say, I'm doing the right things, or I'm not doing the right things. You need to make sure you do what's necessary to get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking. So let's get into 26 plus on TOEFL speaking, the 5 skills that you must master to get 26 plus speaking. Give a sec. I'm going to take a drink of water. Guys, we're going to get into some of the more specific information for TOEFL speaking. Then we'll talk about at the end a few other things. So we're going to go over the 6 plus on TOEFL speaking and then TOEFL writing. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to get a drink of water. Okay, guys, got my drink. I still have this curry sitting next to me that looks really delicious. I would love to eat it. I'll eat it a little bit after it's here. If you have any, please go ahead and ask them to Vlad. Vlad is taking your questions. He will be happy to answer. And, at the end, because I want to answer, as many questions as I can. And are closed. All the programs are closed. In a little bit. So let's go ahead. 5 skills that you must master to get 26 plus on TOEFL speaking. Can you guys hear me all right still? Can you write yes or no? Just write yes or no so that I know if you can hear me. Yes or no? Can you still hear me well? Can you understand me? Is it clear? Christina says yes. Okay. Zoila says yes. Luz Marie says yes. Ala says yes. Okay. Perfect, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the 5 skills that you must master to get 26 plus are your fluency, your TOEFL speaking tactics, your words and phrases, your accent and intonation, and your pace of speech. Those are the 5 skills. Fluency, TOEFL speaking tactics, words and phrases, accent and intonation, pace of speech. And what's important with these things is that we do one at a time. Okay, we do one at a time. So the reason I have them in a pyramid like this is, I'll talk about this quick. Fluency here, TOEFL speaking tactics. these are the basics of doing pretty well on the TOEFL test. Fluency is your ability to talk without interruptions, minimizing ums and uhs, making sure you're very clear and confident in how you speak, making sure that you sound pretty confident when you speak, that you don't stop a lot, have a lot of pauses. TOEFL speaking tactics is like your content, your organization, the timing, your note taking, right? And you need to make sure that these are strong, very strong, before you start to work on the words and phrases. And words and phrases should be very strong. You should be very good at them before you start to work on accent and intonation. And then finally, looking at pace of speech and making sure that you can handle the pace of speech and speak quick enough is important as well. So this is a basic pyramid. It's not 100% correct. No one is, nothing is, but it helps, this context helps about 80 to 90% of students, I would say. It helps 80 to 90% of students. So let's get into them, okay? Fluency. Fluency is minimizing interruptions. It's when you only have 2 to 3 in each response, you sound confident, you sound ready to go, and it's delivered pretty clearly, pretty fluidly from the beginning, transitioning into the middle, and up to the end. So I'll give a couple brief examples. Here's an example of a response that does not have good fluency. If I could choose any city to live in, it would be definitely Chicago. The first reason is because Chicago has a lot of cool architecture. When it burned down a long time ago, they rebuilt it, and all the cool brick buildings are there, and they did a really good job. And the second reason I love Chicago is because it's not as popular as New York and Los Angeles. So they have a different vibe there, and it's cool to meet new people. That's why I prefer Chicago. Notice a lot of ums and uhs. And to be honest, students have a lot of ums and uhs in their response. A better response would be something like this. If I could move to only one city and live in only one city, it would definitely be Chicago. And that's for 2 reasons. The first reason is because of the architecture. I think Chicago has the most beautiful architecture in the United States. In fact, it's the oldest architecture in the United States. It was built in the late 19th century, and they've done a tremendous job recreating a city. The second reason I prefer Chicago is it's not New York or LA. It's not on the coast. It has its own special vibe on Lake Michigan. Less popular with tourists, but a real cool culture that's very local. So yeah, that's why I prefer Chicago. So you notice I had a couple ums in my response. Okay, you noticed that I, said a couple things, but I was largely fluent. I was largely confident. And I went from one point to the next without a problem. So really the best way to improve your fluency is what I tell students is just record your responses. In fact, the best way to improve all of these, fluency, timing, content, words and phrases, accent, pace of speech, record your responses. Record your responses and listen to them and evaluate them and then improve them. Listen to them, evaluate them, improve them. This is going to help you develop your fluency. It will also help you develop, your what I call the TOEFL speaking tactics. That's your timing. Question type 1 and 2, that's 44 to 45 seconds. Question types 3 through 6, that's 58, 59, or 60 seconds. That's your content. 1 and 2. Question types 1 and 2, that means you tell a personal story. You use a personal example. Question type 3, that means, you speak for about 15 seconds on the reading passage, about 45 seconds on the dialogue. Question 4, 15 seconds on the reading passage, 45 seconds on the lecture. Question 5, talk about the problem, the 2 solutions, which solution you would choose and why. There are 3 parts to question type 5. Question type 6, discuss the lecture and the important points. So that's the content as well as the organization. With question type 5, spend about 10 seconds on the problem, 20 seconds on the 2 solutions, 20 to 25 seconds, and 20 to 25 seconds on which solution you would choose and why. And then note taking. You should have notes structured out beforehand. Okay, you should have like a skeleton. We have free content on our website about how to create that skeleton. You guys can check that out after the class. Note taking is important though. You need to take decent notes. Don't write down prepositions like on or over, above. Don't write down like articles, the, a. Just write down the most important words and phrases and some context for them, dates or abbreviations of like verbs or adjectives. Stick to that. The third thing, words and phrases. You need to speak English like a native speaker. Most of you, there might be a couple teachers here as well, but most of you teach or speak English as a second language. So I want you to think, speak like a robot. Phrases to use in your everyday conversation. If you're living in, France, or if you're living in Vietnam, or if you're living in India, when you speak Hindi or Vietnamese or French or Arabic or Spanish, do you use phrases like a robot before you go have conversations? No. Language is natural. It's not supposed to be memorized. That's why templates are such a bad idea for TOEFL speaking, because when you use templates, your intonation sounds very funny. Your intonation sounds very off. So you need to get back to speaking natural English. Now, you all know how to do that. Many of you probably learned English from movies, TV shows, the radio. All you have to do is unlearn templates and unlearn robotic phrases and rediscover how to speak natural English with idioms, with adverbs, with other important phrases. Basically, actually, definitely, totally, completely, just, so, and. English is not academic. And what I've noticed with students who get 26 and 27 on the TOEFL speaking test is they speak colloquial English, which is like informal English. When you write, it helps to be academic. When you speak like a native speaker. Okay? Be natural, be spontaneous, and use informal words and phrases like some of the ones I mentioned. Now, guys, we're also recording this. So, all of this down, you can watch it again. That's no problem. So we're recording this. Accent, the fourth thing. So you've worked on fluency. You got your time down, the tactics. You're doing better with the words and phrases you're using. Accent is important. Your intonation is easy. It's a quick fix. Okay, that's one part of accent. Another part is pronunciation. So intonation, I'll give you an example of intonation, guys. Intonation is going to be something quick. So I'll give you an example of what it sounds like to have no intonation. You sound like a robot. Hi, my name is Paul, and I teach the TOEFL test. Sometimes I drink water, and I eat Thai curry dinner. This is my really robotic voice. I hope you like how I'm talking. This is actually how some students speak on the TOEFL test. And that's why they don't get the score that they want. So what intonation would sound like if it's good, if it's native? Hey, my name is Paul, and I'm a teacher for the TOEFL test. I really love to eat Thai food and teach English, and I really love to travel as well. You notice my voice goes up. End of sentences, my voice comes down. Maybe, sometimes I speak a lot faster because I'm enthusiastic, I'm interested, I'm passionate. And sometimes, I slow down a little bit. That's intonation. Intonation is not linear. It doesn't happen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Intonation is random. It's a little, and making sure that we can use that intonation like a native speaker is going to be very helpful. So we have accent, guys. Then pronunciation. What I tell students is try, if you have issues with pronunciation, first try to get 26 without working on it. Because pronunciation often takes from 3 to 6 months to really improve. And that's often what students avoid, the reason they don't want to do it. Okay? So with pronunciation, it's difficult and it takes time. What basically needs to happen is, I'll give you the basic process right now. You need to first, pronunciation is a physical movement. It's how your mouth moves. And you need to change the way your mouth moves to pronounce different sounds correctly. Like the ER sound in her, person, professor, teacher, right? That sound. A lot of students struggle with that, especially who have Spanish as their first language, especially when they have Arabic as their first language. And I know there are many of you who have those, so that's those. So it takes time. So you first need to fix mouth. Then, after you fix the way the mouth moves, you need to start practicing it in words, pronouncing words correctly. Then you need to start practicing it within sentences. Practice sentences correctly. Then you need to start practicing it within, real responses and making sure you do a slow, step-by-step process. Pronunciation takes a lot of patience. And Alan, I'm glad you said that. The problem is you can't have a good accent while you are thinking. And that's right. The less time you have, it makes you more nervous. You're totally right, Alan. That's why it's patient and start slow. Be patient and start slow. Take step one. Once step one is good, take two. You're not going to improve pronunciation overnight, in a week or 2 weeks. It takes a month. It takes 6 weeks. It takes 2 months, because we're changing the muscle movements in our mouth. So intonation and pronunciation are both important parts of accent. And to be honest, a lot of these students that I work with who, for example, have taken TOEFL 7 times or 10 times or 12 times, the reason they don't get 26 is because of their accent, about 80% of them. Another 20% of them, it's because of their confidence. It's because of their confidence. Okay? So, and we'll talk about that as well in a bit here. We'll talk about confidence. I want to keep this moving. Your pace of speech. Question 1 and 2 should be 105 words. Questions 3 through 6 be 135 words. Okay, that's about how fast you should speak. If you're a little under that, that's fine. Like 100 is okay. 130 is probably okay. If you're under that quite a bit, you probably won't get 26 on TOEFL speaking. You need to speak at a fast pace. And again, these aren't absolute rules. Okay? These aren't absolute rules. I've had some students who spoke, they maybe said 95 words in their 1 and 2, and they got 26, 27 on TOEFL speaking. Maybe 120 words, and maybe their question type 4 or 5. And they still got 26, but by and large, which means mostly, by and large, mostly, students who speak slower have a harder time getting a high score on TOEFL speaking. So keep that in mind. And so what I have students do is I have them shadow example responses. And shadowing example responses, I won't talk about it in too much detail, but it's basically where you listen to example responses, and as you listen to them, you try to speak at the same pace. It forces you to increase your speech and keep up, maintain the same speed as the example response that you're listening to. So shadowing example responses is really good for that. So those are the 5 things: fluency, speaking tactics, words and phrases, accent, and your pace of speech. Last thing that's before we get to 20. No, actually, I'll get to that. I want to get to confidence at the end, because confidence also plays a role in TOEFL writing, I think, as it does in TOEFL speaking. You guys, how's everyone doing? On my video so I can say hi, check back in, just make sure that you guys see me, you hear me, you know that I'm obviously present with you. And we're going to go in 4+ on TOEFL writing right now. So what I want you guys to do, take another deep breath, maybe, get a new page in your notebook, or if you're taking notes on your laptop or iPad, get a new one. Get ready to take notes on 24+ on TOEFL writing. Again, if you guys have any questions, please leave them with Vlad. Vlad will help you with any questions, and then we'll do a question and answer at the end of class. Class will end pretty soon, the 24 plus on TOEFL writing section, before we move into the giveaway and some other aspects like that. So let's go ahead, screen share. Okay, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. I want you guys to see this because it has important parts. Talk about this a little bit more. Your typing speed, you should aim for 50 words per minute. 50. That's fast. That's difficult. But if you want to have enough time to finish your essay, you need to be able to type fast. 40 is the absolute minimum if you want to have a really good chance at getting 26. 40 is the absolute minimum. You should aim for at least 50, because if you aim for 50, you'll definitely get 40. And so that's very good. And the second part is be careful how you use your time. And again, we'll go more in this detail, but you need time to plan, and you need time to double check, to edit, to proofread your essay. The integrated essay should be between 225 and 275 words. The independent essay should be between 350 and 400 words. And you need to pay attention to your punctuation, you need to pay attention to your grammar, and you need to pay attention to your spelling. You also obviously need to pay attention to topic development, your thesis statement. You need to pay attention to the ideas that you're presenting, making sure that they make sense, that you use good examples, but we'll talk about that in a little bit more here. So the independent essay, you should spend 3 to 5 minutes outlining, 20 to 23 minutes writing, and 3 to 5 minutes to proofread. Again, this is why it's important to have a fast typing speed. You need time to proofread. You need time to proofread. If you're not proofreading, you're making a mistake. You are harming yourself. You need to give yourself time to proofread. So you need to type faster. For the independent essay, write a total of 4 paragraphs. 5 is probably also fine. It should be an introduction paragraph. You should have a couple body paragraphs, and you should have a brief conclusion. I've also heard students who use an introduction paragraph and 3 body paragraphs without a conclusion. Depending on how good your English is, that can also work. Another thing, be enthusiastic in your writing. Usually, your opinion is valued in the independent essay. Which angle you choose to take, make sure you are passionate about what you write. And I know, again, this won't happen with every essay. I know some essays are super boring. Okay, super boring. But try to find something. Try to find an angle. Try to find a little thing that you can be passionate about. Because when you're interested in it, when you're passionate about it, you're going to write better. There are going to be more ideas. You're going to be more creative. You're going to be more confident in your writing. And the last thing is write a strong thesis. With the independent essay, you are making an argument for something. You're saying, you agree or disagree, you believe in this or you believe in that, you prefer this or you prefer that. Make it clear what you prefer or why you believe or why you agree. Make that very clear, and then support it with great details. Support it with great details and examples. The integrated essay. Again, maybe spend 17 to 18 minutes writing the essay and 2 to 3 minutes reading the essay. Doesn't take as much time to take notes, because you should spend your time, basically what happens in the integrated essay is you read something and then you listen to something. You should have all your notes already set so that when you start writing, it's very organized. Oh, this is what the reading passage is about. Oh yeah, it's very organized. This is what the lecture is about. You already have the notes in front of you. You briefly review them for a minute, and then you start writing your essay. You spend 17 to 18 minutes writing the essay and 2 to 3 minutes proofreading the essay. You should familiarize yourself with the 2 main prompt types, supporting or disagreement. Most in the integrated are disagreement. The lecture says this thing, but the reading passage says something else. Why is the lecture correct? Or why does the lecturer believe that he's correct or she is correct? And you have to say how they're different. There's also one that supports, where the lecturer will support the material in the reading passage, but that is less common. Most are support or disagree. Most are disagreement. So if you have one that's disagreement, keep in mind you should spend most of your time writing about the listening section, just the sentence or maybe two at the very most about the reading in each body paragraph. Most of it should be about the listening because that's what the prompt asks you. It asks you about the listening. Third thing, learn how to write a strong introductory paragraph. Strong introductory paragraph. Okay? 3 sentences, making sure the context is very clear, is super, super important. Okay, so writing a strong intro paragraph is great. And do not write about your personal opinion. Instead, write objectively about the reading and the lecture. Don't use I or me. Try not even to use you. Use more academic, objective language about the reading and the lecture. Last note, paraphrase the text as much as you can. If you read something in the reading passage, do not copy it down into the essay. If you hear something in the lecture, do not copy it down into the essay. Paraphrase it. You can use some of the same words or some of the same phrases, but it shouldn't be the same exact ones. Paraphrase it, learn about different synonyms, learn about how to do it within a context, and you guys should be fine. Okay, you guys should be fine. So that's the integrated essay. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is confidence. And I'll also be honest with you guys in terms of why the writing section was much shorter than the speaking section. We've helped a lot more students with speaking than writing. We've helped a number of students with writing. We have more experience with speaking, but we notice that more and more students also need help with writing. So now we've created an online course. We've tested our methods. So that's why that part's slightly shorter than the speaking section. So if you have any other questions, just leave them for the end of class. So last thing, confidence. And you know what? I'm gonna turn off my screen share right now. Okay, so you can see me again. Confidence. Confidence is super important. Your mindset is super important. The way that you approach the test is super important. Like I said, accent is a big reason students took a 26. It's or 24, 26 on speaking, 24 on writing. It's also your confidence. So a couple tips. 1, pay attention to the growth mindset. Growth mindset. Be patient with yourself. Always commit to getting better and better and better and better. There's no end. It's not like once you hit 26, the world is going to explode in fireworks and you're going to reach the next level of bliss. It takes time. It takes patience. So be patient with it. Commit to improving and build your confidence by working hard. Build your confidence by working hard and doing the right things. Another thing, when you go into the test, start strong. There's going to be distractions. There's going to be a lot of people. You're going to be nervous. It's going to be anxious. You have a 10-minute break between the listening and the speaking section. Use that 10-minute break to mentally prepare yourself. Get excited, get enthusiastic, get energized, and really motivate yourself to do well. And when you sit down in that chair to give your first question type 1 response, do it super well. Just focus on those first 5 or 10 seconds and say, I'm going to dominate these first 5 or 10 seconds. I'm going to be super confident. It's going to be really easy and I'm going to do great. And then go and do that. And what I've noticed is students who start strong, first 5 and 10 seconds, great. They continue to be strong. They continue to have confidence when they're giving both the response for question type 1, but also the responses for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as a little hint, when you have that 10-minute break, warm up by just giving like a question type response under your breath. If I had to live in a city, I would live in Chicago. And that's because blah, 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 blah. And just kind of go through that in your head. Have that first question type 1 response. And that way, when you go and you sit down in the chair, it's not the first time that you've done it. Okay? It's not the first time that you've done it. So let's review, guys. Let's review some of these things before we move into the giveaway, before we move into just the conclusion, the wrap up, and before we let some of you, if you want to invest in our premium resources to get help right away, you can do that immediately if you need. So let's review. TOEFL. There are some students here who have taken it more than 10 times. There are some students who have taken it between 7 and 9 times. There are a number of students who have spent already over $1,000 on taking the TOEFL test. If you want to get a high score on TOEFL, you should not take the test more than 3 or 4 times. And I'm saying this to people who obviously have only taken it, 1 time or 2 times. There's no reason to keep taking it again and again and again. You need to understand what you're doing. You need to understand how to improve it, and you need to follow resources that help you improve it and that help you get your goal score in a short period of time. 3 to 6 months is usually good. 3 to 6 months. 6 months at the most if you're studying the right thing and you're working hard consistently. We went into the 5 aspects of getting 26 plus on TOEFL speaking: fluency, TOEFL speaking tactics, words and phrases, accent, pace of speech. We talked about writing, briefly, but some. I will next webinar. We'll do another one in a couple months. I'll talk even more about writing, but you need to write a lot. You need to improve your typing speed. You need to make sure that for the independent essay, it's enthusiastic, you're really passionate, and you need to make sure for the integrated essay that you write it objectively, okay? That you write it objectively. And finally, confidence. Commit to the growth mindset. Just Google that, growth, GROWTH, mindset. There's an excellent TED Talk. I love TED Talks, love TED Talks. There's an excellent TED Talk from an author about the growth mindset, and that's really important to pay attention to. Confidence, confidence, confidence. Okay, so let's where from now, right? What are the next steps for the people who are here? What to do next? Let's talk briefly about those, and then we'll get to the giveaway, and we'll get to the Q&A as well. I'm going to stick around. Many of you are. You're stressed. You feel overwhelmed. You feel maybe some of you a little hopeless, unmotivated. You're stuck. You want to get 26 on TOEFL speaking or 24 plus on TOEFL writing. You're close. Maybe you've gotten 23 on speaking. Maybe you've gotten 22 on writing, but you're not there. You're not quite there. Some of you are just starting. Some of you have been doing this for a long time. But many of you are concerned. You're anxious, you're nervous, you're worried, you're stressed, and you're not sure what to do. You're not sure what's correct. And so, if that's the case, you guys from here, these are actionable things. You have 3 choices, the way that I see it. Number 1, you can prepare by yourself with free resources. I know there are many people here in this class today who can't afford private lessons or group lessons. Again, there are a lot of low-income people here who maybe live in Afghanistan or Iraq or Vietnam, India. I totally understand that. You need to prepare by yourself with free resources. There are also many of you in here who can afford to invest in it, but you haven't so far. Or maybe you have, but it's been with maybe a book or not the greatest private lessons or group lessons, things that didn't work. And maybe you're just going to say, I'm going to do free things from now on. And that's okay too, but we'll talk about why you might want to reconsider that. 2, you can prepare with another company or tutor, using what you learned in today's class. I have no problem with that. I'll be honest, we charge a premium price compared to a lot of other just general, regular, everyday English teachers. We charge more. Our teachers are much more experienced. Our teachers are much more professional. We do lessons 7 days a week, all the time. But you can take this and you can go work with another instructor if that's within your budget, if that's better within your budget. You can work with another program. Magoosh has pretty good programs. Noteful, as I mentioned, have pretty good programs. So that's definitely all possible as well. Your last option, though, and I'm biased, obviously very biased, but I think our premium resources to accelerate your path to 26 on TOEFL speaking, as well as 24 plus on TOEFL writing, are the best option. They're high quality. They've been tested and proven by over 100 students. We take care of our students. We really like our students. And that is the third option. That's the more expensive option. But it also, some of you don't have time to waste. Some of you need this as soon as possible. And some of you want to do it in a way that's professional, in a way that you know will work, in a way that's been proven to work, and in a way that won't take 2 years, or 18 months. Well, that will take 3 to 6 months, depending on where you are right now. So with that being said, I just want to ask you guys a quick question. If I said, tomorrow, you can be done with TOEFL. Tomorrow, you can be done with TOEFL. How much money would you give me to be done with TOEFL? How much money would you spend just to say, hey, screw TOEFL, get it done with, it's over, I don't have to worry about it anymore, I can move on in my life, I can become a pharmacist, I can become a physical therapist, I can become a doctor, I can get my visa to become a teacher, I can go get my PhD or my master's. If I said, yeah, we can do that, how much money would you spend? How much money would you invest? In past classes, students have said, 200, 500. In past classes, students have said $1,000, $2,000. Remember, there are probably 20 to 30 people in this class right now who have already spent more than $1,000 on taking the TOEFL. They've already spent that. So keep that in mind. How much money would you give to be done with TOEFL? And I'm seeing numbers like 300. I'm seeing numbers like 500, 700. Oh, wow, 1,500. So, it's worth it. Sometimes it's worth it. And of course, that's why I want to make these resources available for you today. Okay. And Vlad, don't open this up yet. We're not going to open it up. I want to say a couple things. Okay. Then we can open up the offer. Guys, in just a little bit here, like about a minute. Okay. About 1 minute, we're going to offer up access to our TOEFL Speaking 26 plus group classes. I teach all these group classes. We meet twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays. We have a small class I facilitate a small class discussion. We work on your responses. You learn all the resources that you need to learn. And normally we charge $297 for that. But if you want to purchase today, if you're committed to this, if you know you want to improve, if you know that this is something that you need, that you want, we're going to offer a special price for the live call today for the free class. It's going to be $247 for those who are interested. Vlad, hold up a sec. I'm going to say a couple more things. $247 for those who are interested. And that includes, like I said, 8 classes with me. I'm going to see if I include this in the slide. I can't remember. Okay. That includes 8 classes with me. That includes 8 one-hour classes twice a week. You get the entire self-study course for how to get 26 plus in TOEFL Speaking that over 100 students have used. You get a couple response analysis where we listen to your responses and we give you feedback on them before and after class. And we have 8 classes in total for that. And you'll see more details when we provide the checkout page. Okay, Vlad, not yet, because I want to also tell them about our writing group classes. Guys, we also have writing group classes for 24 plus. So if you need 26 plus on TOEFL Speaking, if you need 24 plus on TOEFL Writing, we also offer group classes. There's only 4 students per class. Okay, 4 students per class. In the speaking, there's 8 because the speaking, it's easier with more students. In the writing, it's 4. We're going to go over in detail everything you need to know to get 24 plus on TOEFL Writing, including, how do you type faster? How do you structure your essay? How do you come up with more ideas? How do you fix your grammar, spelling, punctuation? How do you write great thesis statements? How do you write great conclusions? All these questions we'll go over, and you'll get direct feedback on your written essays as part of that. You'll get 1 independent essay and 1 integrated essay that we will evaluate and look at for you and give you feedback and advice on it. So we're going to have, the speaking 26 plus classes. We're going to have the TOEFL Writing 24 plus group classes. Guys, we're also going to do combo group classes. There are some of you in here who need to get 26 plus on TOEFL Speaking and 24 plus on TOEFL Writing. Okay? If bought separately Obviously, with those two prices, you'd pay about $444 if you buy them separately. So today, what we want to do, again, for this class is even knock that down further to $397. So one single payment, $397. And we can also split that up for you guys if you want. Send us an email after. We can separate it into payments for you if you want. $397. And so you're saving $50 already in the TOEFL Speaking 26 plus group classes. If you purchase both of these, you're saving another, I believe, $47. So in total, $97. Plus, there's one more thing. Okay, and Vlad will release it. If you buy that in class today, and I'm not pressuring any of you, this will be available for the next 3 days. This will be available for the next 72 hours, the special deal and special price. You can take time to think about it if you need time. You can take time to think about questions, to ask questions. You can take time to talk about it with your family members or your partner, spouse, husband, wife. But if you know this is for you, if you know you want to commit to it, if you know, that this is something that you really need to do, we're just going to offer you a bonus, guys. So if you buy today before the end of class, we'll end class again in about 25 minutes. If you buy today, you'll get a free private lesson with one of our instructors. Okay? A free private lesson with one of our instructors. And that's another $50. So you're saving $50 in the group speaking group classes. You're saving $47 in the combo group classes. And if you buy now, you'll save another $50 in getting a private lesson to work one-on-one with someone to really go over your weaknesses and things like that. So, Vlad, can you open that up now so that people can take advantage of it? One thing to note, if you want to take advantage of the discount, right, on the combo group, I believe on the speaking group classes, if you want to take advantage of the discount on the TOEFL Speaking 26 Plus on group classes, please enter the code 50 off March, okay? 50 off, all capitals, March. 50 off March. So it's there at the top of the chat box. You guys can see that. So 50 off March. Enter that coupon. You can get access to it. Vlad, did you upload those? Good. Vlad, can you also please upload the combo group classes and the writing group classes? Combo group classes and writing group classes. Or can you only do one at a time? I think maybe you can only do one at a time, yeah? Okay, so guys, yeah, let's keep it here, Vlad. Guys, TOEFL Speaking group classes, okay, we're gonna keep those available. Can you guys just click through on it? You know, there's that up, okay? There's that, it just got uploaded. Click through on it, just tell me if it works or not. Sometimes we have issues, you know, like we had issues earlier today, like we had issues last week. So can you just click through? Can you tell me if it's loading, please? Tell me if it's loading. Tell me if it's working, because if it's not, we have a backup link that we can use. So please, you know, click through, tell me if it's working, tell me if it's loading, and then it's loading. Jianing says yes. How about for other people? I like to get, you know, input from a few people. Can you guys click it and check, please? Just check, click on the offer to make sure that, okay, thank you, Halal. Halal also is saying that it works. So please check that, guys. A few more people, maybe 3 more people. Can you please check whether or not it works for you? Elizabeth says yes. Okay. Krishna says yes. Thanks, guys. So I'm going to leave those speaking group classes up for the next 5 minutes or so. Okay. We're going to leave it up for the next 5 minutes or so. And then, you know, if you want to buy now, you get a free private lesson. And that's only if you're comfortable. I'm not pressuring you. You know, this will be available in a few days as well. But if you really wanted to do it now, you'll get the free private lesson. One private lesson with one of our instructors. Okay? And some people are saying I prefer private lessons. That's fine. That's good to know. Speaking group classes. Go ahead, and we're going to leave that up now. Open that link. Vlad, could you now upload the combo group classes, please? Combo group classes. And guys, we're still going to do question and answer. So in about 5 minutes, we'll be done with this. We're still going to do a question and answer session. So please stick around. The combo group classes are now also available. if you need 26 plus on TOEFL speaking and you need 24 plus on TOEFL writing, again, you're getting a $50 discount on the TOEFL speaking group classes. You are also getting a $50 discount on the overall combination. If we add up the speaking group classes and the writing group classes. So you're saving, if you want to invest, again, if you want, no pressure, you're saving $97. Plus, remember, if you purchase today, you get a completely free private lesson. So you're basically getting like $150 off, $147 off by purchasing today, or, if you're not comfortable in the next few days, you can still save that money. We'll still have that combo group classes offer available. So guys, that's there. Please check on it. Please make sure it works. Go ahead and clicking to seeing what it's like. And what I want to do now is I want to start yeah, so Aruj asks a good first question, which I'm happy that you asked that, Aruj, because I wanted to address that. So Aruj's first question, guys, start writing questions, please, just so that we do have some things to work with. Again, we're going to keep those offers open. If you want to invest today, great. You'll get a free private class as a result. You don't have to act now. You can take time. You can ask questions. We also have private lessons available if you prefer that. So there's time, but I'll just keep that up. And we're going to kind of go into questions now. We're going to go into questions to see what people have to ask. So Aruj asks, Paul, you said don't use templates in today's class. However, in your YouTube videos, you recommend using templates. And what do you think about that? What's the deal with that? So I'll give you some insight into that, Aruj. First, when I recorded those videos a couple years ago, about 2.5 years ago now, I thought, this was at the beginning of my training. This is the beginning of my teaching. So I thought templates were a good idea. They're not. I learned quickly, very quickly, within about a month or so. I learned that they're not. And so what I use those videos for, the Master TOEFL Speaking videos, is I say if you need 23 or 24 on TOEFL Speaking, those are great. You can use templates and still get away with getting 23 or 24. Okay? You can still get away with using 23 or 24. However, if you need 26, you need to make that leap up. I've since learned that it's much better to be natural. And I learned that by talking to people who graded the TOEFL test. I learned that by talking to other teachers. I learned that by just experimentation, figuring out after I worked with a number of students that was much more effective and that worked much better. So thank you for asking that, Aruj. Guys, do we have any more questions? I'm going to wait for questions. Okay, so Mir asks, how do I generate more ideas for speaking? How do I generate more ideas for speaking? I run out of ideas. The first thing is immersion. You should immerse yourself in as much English as possible. When you immerse yourself in English, you learn much quicker. And that's because you're always hearing it. Always hearing it, always hearing it. It's much easier to think of new words and phrases to use and say. And when it's easier to think of new words and phrases to say, you're going to be able to speak quicker and come up with more ideas. The second thing that you need to do is practice. I get this question all the time for question type 1 and 2. These are so difficult. I can't generate ideas. I can't create ideas. What do I do? Practice. Practice, practice, practice. The more you practice these responses, just going down prompts, prompt 1, prompt 2, prompt 3, prompt 4, I have a list of like 50 on my website. There are free lists all over the internet. Boom, 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 practice, practice. Doing the same prompt again and again and again. You need to practice a lot. The more you practice, the easier it will be to create ideas, okay? And the more you immerse yourself in English, the more movies you listen to, the more TV shows you watch, the more radio you listen to, the more music you listen to in English, the quicker you will learn. The quicker you will learn. So immersion is also important. Let's get to some of these other questions. What's the schedule? So for group classes, we meet on Wednesdays and Sundays, and we have 2 classes. We have a class in the afternoon on Wednesday and Sunday, and we have a class in the evening on Wednesday and Sunday. And that's Eastern Standard Time, New York City time. Usually early, mid-afternoon on Sundays, and then Sundays and Wednesdays, and then later evening in like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. During the week. Well, in Sundays and Wednesdays as well. So we have one class in the afternoon, and we have one class in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. So thank you for asking that. So Eva asks, with the combo classes, is that 3 times in 1 week then, or 2 weeks? Yeah, we'd have 3 classes in total. You'd have 2 speaking classes. If you took the combo group classes, you'd do 2 speaking classes per week, and you would do 1 writing class per week. But what you can do is you could say, hey, I want to sign up for the combo group classes, but I want to wait to do the writing. I want to do them separately. I want to wait to do the speaking. So you can just do the writing, do that over 1 month or 2 months, focus on that. Then, when that's good, just kind of enter our next class for speaking. We do these every month. So or every 2 weeks even. So there's always more available. So if you purchase both, but you want to do them separately, so you only have 2 classes a week or one class a week, that's fine. That's no problem. Do I teach how to paraphrase? I think that's a natural part. I do have specific lessons about how to paraphrase for speaking. I do have specific lessons about how to paraphrase for writing. And so that is part of what we teach in the online courses. Marwa asks, what's the best way to improve integrated speaking questions? Practice. Record responses, practice them, and listen to example responses. So this is what we have also in our online course, our premium course. We have example responses from students who have taken the test before, got 26, got 27, got 28, and we share those with you in the premium resources. You get to listen to those, you have full access to those, and I tell students, listen to those again and again and again, especially the integrated questions, and you'll start to have a very deep understanding of how you should sound when you give your own responses for TOEFL speaking. Ala asks how to come up with examples if I have no prior experience. Practice. The idea is the more you practice these different questions, the more overlap there will be. So hopefully in the real TOEFL, there will at least be something that you can talk about that you've practiced before. So Junaid says, you said it and needs a minimum of 3 months to prepare for TOEFL. What if you only have 1 month? If you only have 1 month of time, send me an email. We'll get you in private lessons. You need to do private lessons if you only have 1 month of time. Group lessons are better for students who have at least 6 months. At the minimum, like 3 to 4 months, but at least 6 months. If you need it within a month, we need to do private lessons. So send us an email about that. Yes, Samir asks, when he gives his first response for a question, it's weak. However, when he gives it a second time, it's much better. That's something that I recommend in my private lessons and the group classes is recording the same response again and again and again. Oftentimes students, record this response and they don't like it, so they do this response. They don't like it, so they do this response. When you're always switching responses, you don't make as much progress because not only are you trying to do a new response, new content, new ideas, new organization, by having new content, new ideas, new organization, you can't focus on the issue. And the issue is usually something else. Fluency, words and phrases, accent, pace of speech, your organization. Do the same response again and again, and you can really focus on that one issue that you're struggling with. Rashid asks, he speaks English and Turkish. He also is a native Arabic speaker. There's a conflict there. What can he do? Rashid, listen to more English. Listen to more English. Practice more English. You should listen to an hour a day. You should practice speaking out loud to yourself, speaking to a native speaker, doing a language exchange with someone. Practice. The more you practice, the easier it will be to think in that language because that's what you're asking. How do I think more often in that language so it's more natural? Immersion, practice, really trying to improve that ability. Dina asks, if I miss the group class. Do I still have the class recorded? Yes. All our group classes are recorded. You can see all of them. We always post them. You'll also get access to all these other things, so you can definitely see the recorded group classes. Mustafa asks, how many hours do we need to practice every day? Depends. Some people just 30 minutes. Some people an hour. Some people 1.5 hours. You shouldn't need to practice more than 1.5 hours. If you're focused, you're motivated, you're interested, studying for 1.5 hours each day should be more than enough. And make sure you're using the right resources. Luz Marie asks, what's the schedule about the speaking evaluation? You can schedule it for whenever you want. After you purchase it, you'll see my calendar and you can schedule a date. I have availability usually like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday and Sunday, but I'm also flexible in other cases. John asks, how do we improve our vocabulary? Immersion. Listening to English and then maybe writing down some words and being like, okay, now I need to use these in my response. Now I need to actively try to use these in my response to get better and better at it. Adrian asks, is it better to write succinct essays with less words or write essays with many words? It's important to at least hit the minimum. 225 for integrated, 350 for independent. After that, there's not clear evidence that it matters. You want to write at least that much. And obviously, the less you write, the more time you have to double check, the more time you have to proofread, which means your essay will improve as well. So 225 to 275, 350 to 400. Krishna asks, how much are private lessons? With our instructors, it depends on how many hours you register for. There's different prices for 6 hours, 10 hours, and 14 hours. With me, private lessons with me are very expensive. I try not to teach private lessons anymore. I'm teaching a lot of the group lessons. So we can follow up with those details, Krishna, so that you understand how much private lessons are. Jianin asks, should I memorize templates for the writing section? You can memorize some, but you need to make sure they work. You need to make sure that if you use those templates, that they make sense within the context that you're writing in. And so be careful about that. You can use them, but be aware of them, be careful of them, and make sure it still makes sense, what you're writing. And that usually, to get to that point, you need a larger kind of contextual understanding of how to type and write English. If you're really a bad writer, write more. That will help. That's the first step. Write more in English. Write every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Write more and read a lot. And you'll slowly get better in doing that. Okay, guys, I'm going to answer one more question, then we're going to get going. We'll announce the giveaway over email, just so that you guys have that. And yes, spelling matters. Spelling matters and autocorrect will not be available. So you need to make sure that you learn to spell. If you practice without your autocorrect. Okay, practice without your autocorrect so you learn how to do that. Marwa asks, you say keep working on each task. How many times till we perfect it? It depends. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depends. But at least 2 to 3 times is important. Marwa asks, do you suggest any book for improving vocabulary? If you want to improve your vocabulary, don't read. Listen. Listen. You're trying to become a better speaker. Listening is directly related to that. Listen to more. Listen to more English. Write down words that you don't know. Look those words up. Listen to them again. Repeat again and again and again. And that's going to be helpful. Christina, this is a good last question to end on. Does the practice time of 1.5 hours include listening to authentic natural resources? I like to say no, because you can do those at any time. You can do those in the car on the way to work. You can do that when you're taking the public transportation. You can do that in bed at night. You don't need to be super focused and disciplined. You just need to have exposure. So you can do that over, more. However, if you only have an hour and a half per day, and you're not doing it at all, if you're not listening to authentic resources, study for an hour and listen to English for 30 minutes. So you need to do it, at least partially, at least part of the time. Valentine, I addressed that earlier, so just watch the replay. How do you improve your pronunciation? It's a long process, but I talked about that earlier. So guys, we're going to wrap up now. Okay, we're going to finish up. I have to go teach a group class right now, actually. So again, we're going to keep that open for the last 5 minutes or so. The combo group classes, the TOEFL speaking group classes. And if you have any other questions, please, Vlad will stay on a little bit. Okay, Vlad, if you could stay on and answer questions for a little bit longer. And so Vlad will answer your questions. And then, Vlad will answer your questions. And we'll be sending emails over the next few days. So keep an eye on your email list. Keep an eye on your email. We're going to send some emails about more details, more questions. And, we'll have this open for about the next 72 hours, the next 3 days. So have a great day, guys. Okay, have a great rest of your trip. Not your trip. Have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your weekend. A weekend is kind of a trip anyway, I feel like. And I'm going to get going. So again, it was a pleasure to talk to all of you, get to know all of you. And thank you so much. If you have any questions, Vlad will be here to answer questions. And I look forward to teaching you guys again. Can't wait to see you in our next one. It will be much better next time. Thanks again. Bye, guys.